What is it that makes somebody entrepreneurial? It's their mindset. In this video, I'll show you how to have an entrepreneurial mindset. Applying this in your life will give you the ability to be able to think differently and have greater outcomes in all areas of your life. Okay, here are 5 ways to help develop an entrepreneurial mindset. Our mindset is very important, and it's how we think, and how we think determines how we behave, how we act. So our mindset sometimes gets stuck in a certain way, and it's very limiting. But if you can develop a entrepreneurial mindset and think like an entrepreneur, then you will start to act like an entrepreneur. And whether or not you practice entrepreneurialism, the skills and mindset associated with an entrepreneur are very helpful in whatever type of work you do, even in your life. So having a corrective perspective of how you see things, avoiding the average so you don't just kind of stay status quo, embracing disruption in a constructive way, having a growth mindset so that you're thinking about things in a growing, not limiting perspective or mindset, and then just pursuing lifelong learning, that you never stop learning. These are the components of having an entrepreneurial mindset. The lemon stand is a great example of perspective. When given lemons, you make lemonade. You don't complain about not being able to make apple juice because you don't have apples. If you just got stuck with the perspective, I don't like what I have, or I've been dealt a bad hand, then your perspective is one of being defeated. And this is not how an entrepreneur thinks. An entrepreneur thinks about, okay, what is it I have? What can I get? And what can I do with what I have? All right? Even the glass full of water or half full of water or half empty example fits this example as well. Some people see the glass half full, some see it half empty. The entrepreneurial mindset would say it's half full. How can we fill it up the rest of the way? Or what can we do with what we have? Where the average mindset is, well, it's half empty, so we're just limited in what we can do. So this perspective is really important for an entrepreneur, to see opportunity where other people see challenges, setbacks, or defeat. Not thinking average. Average thinking things to get from A to B, it's a straight line, and when it's not a straight line, they give up. But in reality, life and circumstances to go from A to B, the reality is forward and backward and circles and all kinds of things. This is the reality, and an entrepreneurial mindset embraces that and pursues progress, not perfection. And they don't give up easily. Entrepreneurs are very persistent and diligent, and they don't give up. The average person will give up way too soon because it's not as simple or as easy as they thought it should be, and because it's not simple and easy, they don't think it's meant to be. But again, that's the wrong perspective, right? The things most worth having are hard, they're difficult, they're challenging. And an entrepreneurial mindset embraces that and keeps moving forward even in the midst of setbacks. 2 steps forward, 1 step back is still progress. That's a perspective again, but it's how you think, not average. We think about being average. In school, we were taught that C's was average, right? The average performers kind of got a C. That's the middle of this bell curve. An entrepreneurial mindset tries to think, how do you become a top performer? How do you get in that top 20% and not be limited by the average? And one of the ways to do this is to not think what's obvious or just the simple or the first things that come to mind. If you ask people to solve a problem, most people will try to think of the simple, most obvious answer. That's average, right? And if you want to be a top performer, you're going to think, how do I times 10, times 100 that idea, that solution, that answer, and do something different? Think outside the box, not do what everybody else is doing, and become a top performer, get in that top 20%. I do this practically by whenever I'm asked a question or trying to solve a problem, the first thing that comes to mind, I think, okay, that's probably the average, what an average person would think of. And then I think, okay, how do I add to that? How do I make that better? How do I expound on that? And then that gets me moving off of average into this higher echelon of not thinking like average. The next characteristic of an entrepreneurial mindset is being disruptive. And obviously you can be disruptive in a destructive way or a constructive way. And I'm proposing it to be a constructive way. Many industries in the world have been disrupted. Retail has been disrupted by online sales, and transportation has been disrupted by Uber and Lyft. There's hotels have been disrupted by Airbnb and VRBO. Lots of industries have been disrupted, and an entrepreneur thinks disruptive in disruptive ways. They think, okay, How do I think different? This is not just being the devil's advocate. This is thinking, putting aside what is and thinking about what could be. What if we break this and start over again? This isn't just iterating what we already have. It's bigger than that. How do you reset it? How do you model it? How do you reinvent it? Right. So just being a disruptive thinker is very much a part of having an entrepreneurial mindset. And how do you develop this? I think studying other fields, other industries, other subjects that you're not familiar with, and picking up ideas and thoughts and how things work in other places that you might be able to bring back and modify and adapt into your situation. Thinking of more ways to solve problems, not just the simple, obvious ones. This is disruption. Not being afraid to go against the grain, not being afraid to think outside the box, not being afraid to challenge the status quo is all part of being disruptive. It takes courage. Not everybody likes disruptive thinkers. A lot of people just want things to stay the way they are. So if you come in and disrupt, people get upset and they misunderstand what you're trying to do. But if you're going to disrupt as an entrepreneur, let people know you're working towards a better outcome. You're working towards making things better, not just making it messy or trying to make it hard on people. So being disruptive is part of the entrepreneurial mindset. Also, a growth mindset. Carol Dweck wrote a good book on this, and she contrasts a fixed mindset with a growth mindset. Many people are stuck in this fixed mindset where they think their failure is the limit of their abilities. They're either good at something or not. They can't really grow and develop. They get frustrated and give up real easy. They stick to what they know. Contrasted with a growth mindset that looks at failure, again, from a perspective that it's part of the learning process, right? The only time failure is when you don't learn from it. So growth mindset embraces that. They think a growth mindset believes they can learn anything. There's so much information available to us to learn things. Any skill that's out there, you can learn it, you can figure it out. Challenges encourage a growth mindset. They don't mind feedback. They take it as constructive, or a fixed mindset gets offended when you give them feedback. And a growth mindset tries new things, right? They're very open to learning and developing and growing and new opportunities. And you have to have a growth mindset to be disruptive and to be above average. Many people who are average thinkers have kind of a fixed mindset. So that's what a growth mindset is. And finally, never stop learning. Entrepreneurial mindset has a lifelong learning philosophy that there's always things to learn. There's new things to learn. They haven't arrived. They won't arrive. There's opportunity to learn new things all the time. But always keep learning, because things are changing. Things are dynamic. And there's new information and new ways and new ideas. And it's kind of a fun era to be in, so that we have access to so much information to learn, but they're always learning. Learning can be overwhelming. There's so much information, and being able to access it and apply it is the real challenge. I use software to help as a second brain or digital brain. As I get older, I don't have to memorize everything. I just need to know where it is. So I organize all this information as I learn inside some software I call Notion. It's a free version of it. You could use Evernote. You could do a note program. But I encourage you to, as a lifelong learner, create a personal library or a digital brain or a second brain that captures all of your learning, so that you can access them when you need them, so they can be available to you on demand. So you find a website article, or you find images, or you find a PDF that's got great information in it, or you need to record a video, or you have some videos you really like. Where do you put those so that you can access them when you need them? I use Notion to do that, and it really helps me stay organized and encourages me to keep learning more information, rather than be overwhelmed by so much information I can't use and not have a place to put it and access it later. So this is the place that I put it, and it helps me be encouraged and motivated to continue being a lifelong learner. Embracing and possessing an entrepreneurial mindset will help you in all areas of your life.